soaked in the hot spring, steam blurring the view. Su Qingyue kept feeling my hot breath against the back of her neck. Not knowing if it was due to the rising water temperature, my whole body slowly heated up. My heart also gradually became scorching hot, obviously just a matter of seconds, yet I felt like a century had passed. I pursed my lips. My heart felt like a little deer was running wild. I tied a perfect bow for Su Qingyue, without touching her even a little bit. Then I took a step back, suppressing the heat in my heart, my voice a bit hoarse. Done tying. Su Qingyue also heaved a sigh of relief, smiling at me, revealing 2 dimples. Thanks. After finishing the hot spring bath, my whole body felt warm. My heart felt filled with a sweet sense of happiness. Near evening, I wrapped the thick bathrobe around me and went ashore. Went to the self-service counter nearby to get some sweets. Su Qingyue followed closely beside me. Whichever one I picked, Su Qingyue also took a piece to eat. Looking from a distance, the two were almost glued together, looking like an intimately inseparable young couple. This scene was captured by the eyes of some people not far away. A girl widened her eyes in surprise, hastily took out her phone, snapped a photo, and sent it to Yang Yuting. Isn't this Gu Xingcheng and Su Qingyue? They actually went to a hot spring alone together, under the expensive European-style chandelier in a luxurious villa. A pale white light enveloped the girl. She was working on a PPT with an emotionless face. A long while later, Yang Yuting scrolled through her phone, suddenly seeing a message on WeChat. In that moment, her actions abruptly stopped. She opened the photo in disbelief. The silhouette of a man and a woman struck her eyes. The atmosphere was harmonious and intimate. The girl's smiling eyes crinkled up, looking extremely sweet. The boy also curled his lips in a smile, looking at her in an ambiguous, dreamy way. Su Qingyue and I looked just like a couple in love. Yang Yuting slammed her phone onto the table. In an instant, her face turned cold as frost. A storm brewed on her face. Su Qingyue and I went to the amusement park together, went to KTV to celebrate a birthday, and even went to a hot spring alone with Su Qingyue. Yang Yuting's always cold and arrogant face suddenly showed fatigue. She had a moment of panic, feeling like she had invisibly lost something, the most precious thing. A long while later, she barely managed to suppress the bitterness in her heart. When Yang Yuting raised her head again, her eyes flashed with confidence and certainty. How could Xingcheng actually choose Su Qingyue? At the hot spring area, a thoughtful staff member brought over drinks. Very low alcohol content. The taste was very unique. The name was even more unique, called Heartbeat Signal. I took the bottle, said thanks, and took a big gulp. Sweet and sour taste mixed with a hint of alcohol, addictive from the first sip. In less than a few minutes, my head felt dizzy. My eyes gradually became dreamy, and my face turned red uncontrollably. I don't know why, but right now I suddenly really wanted to hug Su Qingyue's small waist and touch her long white legs. Just then, Su Qingyue seemed to realize I wasn't okay. She suddenly stood on tiptoe and leaned close to my face, bringing a faint fragrance. Her voice echoed numbingly in my ear. "What's wrong with you?" The girl was even more seductive than usual. I looked at the face magnifying before my eyes. Scared, I immediately took a step back, stammering, "I'm fine. I'm going to the restroom for a bit." I was dizzy and seeing stars. Stumbling to the restroom nearby, splashed cold water hard on my face. I exhaled gently, looked up at myself in the mirror, feeling like something wasn't right. Head was so dizzy. I took a deep breath and walked out of the restroom. The next second, a dark figure rushed out from the corner and smashed a broom handle hard onto my head. I immediately saw stars, falling limply to the ground. The alcohol content of that drink was definitely not low. Otherwise, I couldn't be this dizzy. The person spoke up. Gu Xingcheng. Only then did I see clearly. The person forcing me along. My eyes slowly widened. Song Xinyue. Why is it her? Song Xinyue's eyes glinted. She forcefully covered my mouth and leaned into my ear. Yang Yuting. She's a dead block of ice. What's so worth liking about her? Gu Xingcheng. Be my man. Marry me later. You won't even need to go to university. This young lady guarantees you a lifetime of wealth and glory. I was drunk out of my mind, my head empty. My whole body had no strength left. I knew very well I was extremely drunk. I bit my lip without hesitation. Following the smell of blood and spreading pain, I forced myself to sober up. Once the opponent let down her guard, I kicked her hard in the stomach. The move was clean and decisive, then I quickly fled. I ran while shouting loudly, "Su!" Before I could finish, the next second, that familiar figure appeared before my eyes. Su Qingyue rushed over against the light. Even everything around seemed to make way for her. In that moment, I finally couldn't help but hug her tight, speaking softly. "Su Qingyue, why is it such a coincidence? Always so coincidental. Whenever I'm in danger, she immediately appears in front of me." Su Qingyue's voice was full of concern. "I'm here. Be good. Wait for me a moment." I was dizzy and dazed, my eyes closed uncontrollably, only faintly hearing the sounds of fighting, immediately followed by Song Xinyue's wretched scream. It was hard for Su Qingyue to control her anger. She pressed Song Xinyue's head and slammed it hard against the wall, producing crisp thuds. Song Xinyue knelt miserably on the ground, her forehead almost bleeding from the impact, begging frantically for mercy. Su Qingyue was trying her best to suppress her emotions, finally closing her eyes and taking a deep breath. Daring to plot against him? Do you want to die? At the same time, a girl stood there stunned. Holding her phone, she sneakily slipped away from behind a tree. The girl exclaimed while sneaking away, sending the video she just recorded to Yang Yuting, especially those shocking statements. Yang Yuting, she's a dead block of ice, what's so worth liking about her? Doesn't Song Xinyue hate Gu Xingcheng the most? Turns out she secretly loves him. More importantly, she dared to scold Yuting. Is that poker-faced idiot crazy? The girl was so shocked she felt like she'd been struck by lightning. She was wondering why Song Xinyue was acting so strange today. Her eyes seemed glued to Gu Xingcheng, followed them to check it out, and was shocked to the core. 11:30 p.m. Pitch black night swallowed the sky. I had drunk high-alcohol liquor, drunk and drowsy. Waiting until I groggily opened my eyes, I discovered I was lying on a large, soft bed. The blanket was tucked in very tight, leaving no gaps. A moment later, a familiar voice gently poured into my ear, carrying a tender attachment. Awake? Su Qingyue brought a chair and sat by the bed, staring at me without blinking. Not knowing how long she had been by my side, I opened my eyes, also looking seriously at her face. I nodded. Su Qingyue also didn't say anything, quietly looking at me. The two of us just stared at each other like that. The whole room was filled with silence. I blinked, leaning in a bit closer, looking at her curiously. The woman in front of me looked a bit fierce, but she seemed to have some magic that drew me closer bit by bit. A long while later, I reached out and gently tugged at the fabric of her shirt, carefully opening my mouth to say want to hug, my words a bit unclear. The woman didn't react in time, freezing for a moment. I put on a serious face, thinking hard. Can you hug me later? This time Su Qingyue heard clearly. She pursed her lips and hugged me, her movements careful and gentle. I sat on the bed, burying my head in her chest. Her embrace was very warm, very comfortable. My breath was hot. It seemed to have become part of her body. I wrapped my arms around her waist, rubbing gently in her embrace, occasionally nuzzling my head against her, like a little animal being affectionate. Su Qingyue lowered her head, holding me in her arms. Gradually realizing the posture was too ambiguous, she slowly let go. Su Qingyue couldn't help but speak up. Gu Xingqing, do you know who I am? I sat swaying on the big bed upon hearing that, my face full of dreaminess, lowering my hazy eyes, tilting my head without saying a word. Su Qingyue's gaze lingered on me for a long time. Finally, her eyes darkened. Sure enough, a drunk person basically wouldn't remember her. Suddenly, I clumsily tugged at her shirt. My tone a bit urgent, I know. A faint light flickered in Su Qingyue's eyes, gently holding my hand. Then who am I? Her eyelashes trembled like crow's wings, heart beating frantically out of control. Drunk me was a bit adorably foolish, slowly saying, my wife. Su Qingyue's breath suddenly hitched, heart suddenly skipping a beat. A long while later, she finally heard her own voice amidst her pounding heartbeat. What? I was totally dazed, looking at her, looking a bit worried, asking weakly, what's wrong? Are you not my wife? Su Qingyue stared at the culprit in front of her. I looked disappointed. A while later, she slowly hummed, receiving an affirmative answer. I laughed happily and contentedly. Beautiful sparkling stars bloomed in my eyes. Wifey, my voice was gentle and affectionate, eyes full of expectation. Let me tell you a secret. Su Qingyue lowered her eyes, her voice unchanged. Go ahead. I shook my head twice, sadly unhappy. Come a bit closer. Well, whisper it. Don't let anyone else hear. There was clearly no one else in the room, but Su Qingyue still lowered her head and leaned close to my face. Immediately hearing me lower my voice, Su Qingyue, in our past life, we were together. We were husband and wife, the kind with a marriage certificate. Every single word made Su Qingyue's heart tremble. It took a long time to return to normal. After the surprise and joy, she lowered her head and smiled bitterly, feeling like she was just indulging in fantasy. Past life, present life, just talking nonsense. Su Qingyue sighed, but the corners of her lips unconsciously curved up. Even if it was just my dream, she was very happy. But not knowing what I thought of, my mood suddenly plummeted, clutching the blanket tight, my voice getting smaller. But after we got married, you were very mean, always demanding strictness from me. I complained discontentedly, as if suffering an earth-shattering injustice. Su Qingyue looked at my pitiful, aggrieved appearance. Her whole body suddenly stiffened. In her nightmarish childhood, her scum father would slap her at the slightest provocation, threatening her with a kitchen knife. The worst time, her leg was broken. Her mother was also covered in bloody wounds, even though that scum was dead. But the shadow that once loomed over Su Qingyue hadn't vanished. Su Qingyue closed her eyes and took a deep breath, bearing all the pain of the past deep down. She was silent for a long time before speaking slowly, her tone a bit serious. How could I possibly bully you? Seeing Su Qingyue refusing to admit it to death, I got even angrier, glaring at her, saying word by word, you clearly did. Su Qingyue helplessly said no more. I nuzzled my head towards her, plotting something unknown, finger pointing at myself, saying seriously, I'm a little villain, now I want to bully you. Su Qingyue lazily leaned back in the chair, looking at me. With a hint of curiosity, how does the little villain want to bully me? The person on the bed blinked, tilted his head, thinking seriously, hiding slyness and bad intentions. Can you come a bit closer? Su Qingyue felt she shouldn't go over there, but her body was very honest. Involuntarily moving closer to me, I inched closer towards her. Then later you have to be good and not move. Su Qingyue nodded in agreement. Okay, I moved closer, bit by bit. Su Qingyue was getting closer. My gaze fell on those soft pink lips. Fingertips couldn't help but gently touch them. Wanted to touch for a long time. Finally got my wish. Su Qingyue stared at me. Drunk me wasn't just a villain, but also a pervert, especially in this drunken state. Su Qingyue gently swatted my hand away, increasing the distance. My fingertips stopped in midair. I retracted my hand, feeling wronged. Why won't you let me touch? Is it because you don't like me? Su Qingyue was dizzied by love, momentarily almost forgetting the main issue. She rummaged through my bag for a set of white clothes and threw them on me. Put on your clothes yourself. Su Qingyue turned and walked away. Wait a few minutes later, she brought a cup of warm honey water, making sure I had finished dressing before coming over. Su Qingyue's gaze fell on me. She couldn't help but let out a helpless laugh. You're dressed all right, but you put it on backwards. She patiently stuffed the cup into my hand. Drink up and then go to sleep. Honey water can reduce the discomfort after drinking, relieve headaches. I bowed my head and picked up the glass. After drinking, my heart warmed up. Lying on the bed, my whole body felt comfortable. I rubbed my tired eyes, yawned. Actually, I had been sleepy for a long time, but I didn't want to sleep, even more reluctant to sleep. I lay on my side on the bed, looking towards Su Qingyue, hesitating for a long time, wanting to speak but stopping, wanting to say it but daring not to. A long while later, Su Qingyue seemed to understand all my actions, finally couldn't help asking, "What do you want to say?" My eyes were dreamy, my whole being groggy. Su Qingyue, do you like me? I carefully looked up, staring at Su Qingyue's expression with expectation and nervousness, but after waiting for a very, very long time, she remained silent, as if struggling to suppress something. She didn't say anything. The room suddenly fell into a strange silence, scarily quiet, time passing by second by second. Su Qingyue showed no expression, clenching her fists tight, clenching so hard her knuckles turned white. She suddenly really wanted in this moment to tell me all the secrets buried in her heart, to pour out the bitter, unrequited love of over 10 years. But I was drunk. Would I remember these things after waking up? Su Qingyue looked panicked, thinking a lot in that moment, finally giving up, helplessly bowing her head. Because of Yang Yuting, she had once been alienated by me, could only watch helplessly as I drifted away from her, so she didn't dare to gamble. I curled up in the blanket looking at her. Su Qingyue, do you not like me? Even just a little bit? Not even a little? I don't ask for much, just a little is enough. Finally, Su Qingyue just took a deep breath, complex emotions welling up inside. It's late, rest early. Gu Xingcheng, good night. Hearing that, I knew Su Qingyue was deliberately dodging my question. In an instant, all sorts of sadness and disappointment intertwined. Su Qingyue turned to walk towards the adjacent hotel room. When she turned her back to me, her eyes held a few more shades of loneliness and dejection. I summoned all my courage, stood up, and hugged her from behind. Do you not need me anymore either? Can you not go? Su Qingyue turned around to comfort me. You're really drunk. I'm not leaving. You'll stay here with you. Go lie down on the bed. I went back to lie on the bed, like a small animal scooting to the side. Scoot, leaving a super large space on the bed. So sleep here with me tonight, okay? Time suddenly stopped. Su Qingyue's mind couldn't quite keep up. Seeing her not reacting for a while, I shook her hand, saying sincerely, you said you wouldn't leave me alone. Hurry and get in. I warmed it up for you. There's only one bed. Of course we have to sleep together. Su Qingyue's cold face darkened again. No way. She rejected me very decisively. I was stunned for 2 seconds, a bit unbelieving. She leaned on the chair by the bed, her voice concise, suppressed to the point of trembling. I'll sit here and sleep with you. I lay on the bed, tilting my head, round eyes looking at her, hesitating for a long while. In the end, I still inched closer to her and nodded. Okay. Su Qingyue went to turn off the lights, leaving only a very dim, warm nightlight. She sat on the stool by the bed. Her voice sounded a bit more spoiling. Go to sleep. I'll watch over you. I lay on the soft pillow and rubbed my eyes. Then you can't suddenly leave while I'm asleep. Su Qingyue hummed softly. I won't leave. Receiving an affirmative answer, I happily closed my eyes. Late at night, when everything was silent, Song Xinyue was dead drunk. She was beaten until her bones broke, her face covered in blood from her nose. However, she hadn't taken 2 steps before a heavy punch landed on the bridge of her nose. Without even waiting for her to react, she was kicked in the knee. The sound of bones breaking rang out. Heart-wrenching pain seeped deep into her marrow. A stream of hot blood gushed from Song Xinyue's nose. Forced to kneel on the ground, she angrily raised her head. The next second, her expression suddenly froze.